All right. Welcome, everybody, to yet again another civil chat. So good to see you all again. We got people from somebody from Illinois. My wife was born in Illinois. She's born in Springfield. Apparently, there's some other famous politician that was born there as well.
There's a whole lot
Um,
of Simpsons born there too.
yeah, I think Lincoln was born there, if I remember correctly. Anyways, I'm just in Colorado. Nothing exciting ever comes out of Colorado. We say here, Georgia. Georgia. Gotcha. Are you from that Atlanta, Georgia? That one took me a bit. For those that are just listening, somebody wrote in the chat, as we say here, Jawja, and I'm assuming that's Georgia, as in like Augusta, Georgia. Gotcha. That one took me a moment. But anyways, thank you all for showing up. My name is Brian. With me today is, as always, is Brian and the other Brian there around here somewhere. And this is Civil Chat. This is your chance to ask questions about Civil 3D or any Autodesk related civil engineering application. It could be InfraWorks, it could be vehicle tracking, it could be raster design, AutoCAD, whatever, right? We don't put things off limits unless we don't know about it. But really, this is your chance to ask questions. So that's what this is about. You ask questions, we answer them as best we can. The chat is open, so feel free to chat away. You can join everybody else and let us know where you're all from. The Q&A panel is for people to ask questions. So put your questions in there and we will get to them most likely in the order we receive them. Sometimes we finagle the order just a bit. But for the most part, make sure you put your questions in the Q&A, chats in the chat, and just have some fun. As always, I always like to start off with something about Civil 3D. And today I thought what I would talk about is something new in 2026 that comes with the Autodesk Construction Cloud, or whatever they're going to call it this week, right? And this is what's known as the project aware settings. So if I go into my options, this is just a normal drawing. You can see we have our support files, right? If I come into this drawing here, which is associated with a project up in ACC, so this is a cloud-based, it's just a copy of one of the tutorial files that I put up in a project. But if I go into my options here, what you'll notice is we have this current drawing is using project-aware settings. And so what this does is it says, no, I don't want to use those settings from your base CAD. I want to use these settings instead. And so you can see there's support file search paths, trusted locations, templates, and tool palettes, and authoring palette file locations. And so if you have a project that you need specific things for, you can put those into this location here. And Brian and I just, what was it, last week or the week before? We're going over this together, and I don't like it. Well, for us here at GEI, I don't like it, and I'll explain why. I think it's a great idea, but here's I'll talk about some issues that I have, right? But if I come down here, you can see those classic AutoCAD settings. So these are the settings that you have just from regular AutoCAD, and these are the project specific settings. And I'll show you how to set this up for a project if you want, and I'll also show you how to get rid of it for a project you don't want it in that you accidentally set it up for. But basically what this does is you can come in here and you can assign your own support file search paths. But if I come down here to the classic, you'll notice that these are just the default ones that come with Civil 3D. All the ones that I've added in for GEI are not listed here. If I switch back over to this drawing and I go into my options, expand out the support file search path, you can see all these C CAD support file paths. Right? This is where our CAD standards are located. And so I put those up there myself. But if I come back over to a project aware drawing, go back into the options, you can see under the support file search path, those are not there. And you can't add anything here. So if I click on here, you'll notice that all of this over here is grayed out. You can't do anything here, right? Trusted locations, project, let's see, customization files, these you can still edit, right? Because those are not listed up here. So if it's listed up here, you can't change it down here. If it's not listed up here, you can change it down here. Right? And that's basically how it works. And I think this is a great idea. I love this idea, right? So for example, this particular project has some STB files that are specific for this project. They're never going to be used anywhere else on any other projects, but this project is using these STB files. You can put those under your support file search path, and now this project is using those plot styles, all right? The way I would like for it to work is for it to add those support file search paths to what I already have, but it doesn't. It removes what I've done and replaces it up here, which isn't the end of the world for most companies, right? And I'll explain why. Because what I can do is I can add these missing support file search paths up here myself. So if you notice up here under the project specific ones, I personally added these paths to this location for this specific project, right? I just clicked on add a location. So Danny, this is new in 2026. So this is not available in 2025. So all of these I've added manually for this particular project. All right, and just click on add location. You can browse for it just like you can normally. Now the problem is they're for this project. I go do this for another new project and I'd have to do this again. But there's a way around that, and I'll show that here in just a bit. Right. Same thing for the trusted locations. I've added those in manually. The template settings, right? What template are you going to use for this project? Where are your templates for this project? So you can override these for that specific project. Your tool palettes, where are your tool palettes going to be shown? And this is where I'm having issues here at GEI, is with the tool palettes. And then your authoring palette file locations. I think these are like your tool when you're in your block editor. I believe that's what that is. And honestly, I'm not exactly sure what the difference between project settings and my settings are, right? You can add additional ones here. I don't know what the my settings are. I think these are specific for me and not the project, but I'm not 100% positive on that.
So question came up on this. Is that per DWG or per project? How do you specify?
So this is a project setting, right? So every drawing that's associated with this project, when you switch to it, it will be using these settings, as long as it's saved in that project in ACC, right? So you only have to set it up once for the project, and then every file within that project is using these settings. So hopefully that answered your question, Max.
And so these have to be stored on ACC.
Right, this only works for ACC, right? So if I were to, let's just go create a new, let me open up a drawing for a project that doesn't have the project aware. Go to Autodesk Docs.
Yeah, I'm not convinced it has to be on ACC, because if it creates that JSON file in the project, it's going to be just like when you associate a drawing to a data shortcut project. It doesn't matter where it's stored if the drawing's associated to it. At least that's my feeling on it.
I don't know. We can find out.
That's why there's three Brians, because we will never have a full disagreement, right? It'll always be 2 against 1 in our brains.
Right. So this particular project does not have the project aware settings. At least I don't think it does. This is the first time I've actually gotten into this one. Right. But if we go into our options here, you can see project settings are available for this. And you will only see this option if the file is saved up in ACC. All right, so if I come back over to this drawing, which is just drawing number 3, and I go into my options, you'll see that that is not available here. So that's why I'm thinking the files have to be up in ACC. But I'm not 100% positive. All right. So I'm not going to do it for this project, but basically the process you would do, you would click on the setup. So I'd click setup, and then you would just walk through a couple of things. You know, you begin setup. There's just click OK a couple of times, and then you'll end up with the project aware settings. And what this does, I just canceled out of that. What this does is it will add this Autodesk support folder underneath your project files in the project. And if I go into this, you'll notice there's this JSON here. And let me go ahead and open up that JSON.
You can be guaranteed I'm going to play with that.
Like I said, I'm surprised you're not currently playing with that, Tomasi.
All right. And this is all it is. It's really, really simple. It's just those paths that I've put in there. And so what you can do is you can have this folder that has this JSON in your template in ACC. So when you create a new project, it will have this JSON already in there. It'll have this Autodesk support folder already in there. And that's all you need to do. And now this is a project aware project, and you're off to the races.
Well, what if my project aware project requires standards that are company-wide standards?
Yeah, so that's what I did here. So if I come back over here,
Uh-huh.
so in my options, under my support file search path, I've added in my company standard locations. You notice these are pointing to my C drive.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Okay. That
It's the scary part.
never mind. I was thinking of something different.
Right? So this is where we keep all of our standards. So I've
Mhm.
added those as a search path. You know, for example, if I come over here to drawing 3, one of my options here, these are just those paths that I manually put into that project. They're now a part of the JSON. And then when I create a new project with this JSON, it'll be there. And I'm going to test this real quick.
Actually, this would be better because then it could facilitate having all of your standards on ACC.
Right.
Would it be able to use the bridge concept to be able to bridge it to another, so that way you could have a project just called company standards and then manipulate from there?
If you want to do that, you could just browse to it. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Right, but I think what Tomasi's saying is if you bridged that folder to a company standard folder, and then you wanted to make a change, you make a change there, and it globally goes to every project.
you don't have to
Correct.
do that, is my point. All right, when I go into my options, I can say, hey, I want to add a location. And then I can just browse to that other project. I don't need to bridge anything.
Yeah, you have to. No. What I'm talking about is not something that's going through Desktop Connector. See, that's actually a bridge through Desktop Connector, and that's not what I'm wanting it to do.
Okay.
Yeah, because then what that really means is everybody has to have that project active no matter what, because it's your standards.
Right. So everybody would have to have that project.
Everybody would have to have that project active, and I want to. So it's not treated as a project, but as a standards itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was just playing around with this morning, seeing if this was viable, adding to your local paths. The problem with this, I believe, is if you were to plot via the web, it would not use these support files for plotting. Right. So if you were to publish SheetSet Manager via the web, it does an AutoCAD on the web, it wouldn't have access to the support files for your plot styles or your line types or your hatches and things like that. So I think that's a drawback to doing it this way, but it's not something I've looked into yet. But I at least want folks to know that it's here. So yeah, Max in the chat says they're getting rid of the web soon anyway, though. But where does it plot? Does it plot locally or does it plot via AutoCAD for the web? So I know SheetSet Manager for the web is going away, but when you publish a sheet set that's in the cloud, does it plot locally or does it plot in the cloud? If it plots in the cloud, it still needs access to those support files. So that's something I'm not sure about yet, Max. So we'll see how that goes once we actually get to it. But this is kind of fun. Now, this is something I haven't tested yet, which I'm going to do, which I probably shouldn't because there are probably people actively working on this project right now. Right? So I'm going to take this folder that's, oops, did I cut it instead of copied it? I just want to copy it. Right? And then I'm going to paste it into that other project here.
Living life on the edge, doing
Right.
testing in production.
And so now if I come over here, and I think I'll probably have to reopen this drawing. And this simulates creating a new project using project template in ACC. And we'll see what happens here. So if I go into my options, you see it is using project aware settings and it has those paths in it. Right, so you can have these paths pre-populated in your project template in ACC. So when you create your project, it comes preloaded with these. Now, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to go delete that. And so if you accidentally enable the project aware settings and you want to get rid of them, you can just go delete that folder. I'm assuming this is still going to read that way. Yeah. We'll delete everywhere. And then we'll close it and reopen it again. I don't know if you have to do this or not, but I'm doing it anyways. And then if I go back into my options, you can see it's no longer using the project aware settings because I deleted that folder out. So that's kind of what I wanted to show y'all. Is it the end all be all? No. Again, this does not work for us currently. And the reason is because when we switch to different tool palettes, I'm switching the paths of the tool palette. So let me come over here to drawing one. I'll show you how we're doing this. So I've got my GEI symbols tab up here, and these buttons just allow me to see things on the tool palette. So if I go to the SiteWork symbols, I can see my SiteWork symbols over here in my tool palette. If I go to the sheet piles, I can see my sheet piles over here in the tool palettes. And what these buttons do is they actually change the path of my tool palettes. So it changes this path in my options. And so since this is no longer being used in a project aware settings, there's nothing to change. So if I come over here to my quantities one drawing, right, this is part of a project. So if I come up to my sheet piles, oh, look, there's my sheet piles. If I come over here to my design symbols, SiteWork symbols, oh, look, there's my sheet piles. If I come over here to my bolts, oh, look, there's my sheet piles, because it's trying to change this down here. Where's my tool palettes? It's not even listed down here. So it's trying to change the tool palettes down here, and it can't. My tool palettes are controlled up here. And so this is the reason that I can't enable this for our company yet. There's got to be something else going on. Here's what I would love to see it do. What I would love to see is I would love for all of my settings from any other drawing to be listed down here. And then these project settings just add additional paths, right? So if I have specific plot styles for this particular project, just add that folder on top of what I've got down here already. If I've got a tool palette that's specific for this project, add that on top of what I already have down here for the company settings. That's what I would like to see, but that's not where it is right now.
Yeah, and Adam says the tool palette path variable is now read-only if you're using Project Aware.
Yep, exactly.
And then Max had a follow-up. So if we have support file paths specified in our template, like most people, if these templates get saved to ACC, will it wipe out those paths?
It doesn't wipe out the paths. It's just if that drawing is a part of a project-aware settings, it no longer uses those paths for those files. Right. So like I said, here I am in a project aware setting. If I go into my options, I don't have those settings down here any longer, but if I go into a drawing that is not project aware, and I go into my options, it just uses my regular support file search path. Right, this north drainage ditch, I made it a project aware and then I got rid of the project aware. So if I come into here now, and I go into my options, again, you'll see that I have my normal support paths based off of my system, based off of my profile. So hopefully that answered the question, Matt.
So the question I have is, who's the first person going to be like, "Ooh, cool! What does this new thing do?" And they turn it on for everybody and break it.
Yeah.
So is there a way to like make that user permissions? No, you can't do this, you dummies.
I think you have to be a project admin to be able to do that in ACC for that project, but I'm not 100% positive on that. Yeah, Tom said only project admin can make project aware,
Okay.
and Adam confirmed that. So you can't do it. Just nobody, not anybody in the project can do it. Only people that have permissions can.
And so,
So yeah, when I first saw the project aware settings, I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is going to be great. And it just doesn't work for us yet. If it wasn't for the tool palette piece, I think it probably would. But we do tool palettes differently than most other folks do.
and so Max said, yeah, so the way to keep it unaware is delete that folder off of ACC. Is that the official term, unaware?
Yeah, okay. How do we keep it unaware? Don't hit the button. As
Well, yeah,
far
like
as
you
I
said,
know,
only admins can hit the button anyway. So
yeah. So as far as I know, this is always going to be here for a project and for a file that's in ACC. So just don't
and Tom
hit the
said
setup
others
button.
can. Tom said others can click the button, but it's just more of a, hey, here's what it is. Talk to your admin about that.
And Kyle puts in the chat as though an admin would be aware. So, well, yeah. So that's the project aware settings. I thought is interesting. This is something I've been learning about a lot recently. So, any other thoughts on the project aware settings before we move on?
As of now, you have them all covered. Tom did say the Autodesk support files / folders can also be put into that template.
Yeah, and that's part of that JSON.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't just have to be the local folders. It could also be folders that are up on the project specific, or, you know, those types of things as well. But like I said, for us, it's not working because of the tool palettes.
You need to make it like add a DoorDash button on there. So if somebody clicks the wrong button, it automatically orders coffee and delivers it to your office. And charges whatever credit card they have saved on file on their computer. This is what you get for clicking where you weren't supposed to.
That's right. How dare you be curious?
Alrighty, I think that's it for that topic. So a question came up from Sean. Can you run a vehicle tracking for a vehicle and show us how to have it plot in both black and white and color?
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, for sure I can. So here's a project. This would be perfect for this. I'll just come up to the. How come I don't see my vehicle tracking up here?
Because you don't have it up there.
It should be. It should be displaying. Let me try changing this to my custom one. There it is. Okay, so I'll just come in here. I'll do a quick auto drive, and we'll do a WB40. I think that's the way it looks. Statewide AASHTO, WB40. So it's just a semi truck.
You don't pick something fun out like a tank or something out of here?
Oftentimes I will. Okay.
747.
There's some fun ones in here, that's for sure. Okay, we'll have it start here and have it make this left turn. So I'll come up here, down here, through here, around to the loading docks over here. I'll have it back up to here, pull it forward up to here. I know it's going out of bounds. And then I'll have it dock in the building now. Okay, perfect. I am not a truck driver. When I go to plot this, let me just move this. So it's kind of out of the way. So as far as plotting goes, I'll explode this, and what you'll see is these all go on different layers, ATR01. So you would just set these layers up to plot however you want them to plot, right? So if I go into my layers, that ATR1, this particular drawing is set up to plot in color. So you would just choose the appropriate color that you want it to plot. It's just line work, so you just plot it however you want to plot it. If I did this in one of our default drawings here, so this one is set up to plot with STB. Low boy. North American refuse. I thought it was a low boy. That one. We'll try this one. This one's a little bit funner. Maybe it's not. Anyways, I'll just go ahead and throw something in here. And I'll plot this real quick. That's fine. We'll use a DWG to PDF. Apply and do a preview. And you see right now this one is plotting in color. The reason it's plotting in color is this is a STB based drawing. And if I go into the layers, right, you can see this layer is the plot style not being displayed. It's set to normal, right? So I would set an appropriate plot style. Let's see what else we have that's normal. Is that the only? Maybe that's the only one. So I'll set that to Des Black 12. And now when I plot, you can see it's plotting black. So it's just same as any other AutoCAD line work. It's just this line work goes on to a specific layer. You can just set that layer up to plot however you want. If you're using a CTB, you have to go into the settings to change the colors of those to be plot the way you want them to. I believe that is under the settings here, somewhere in here.
Yeah, and Robert says they use a black and white CTB to add color. We just change the entity or layer to an RGB value that does not match the standard colors, and that will plot in color.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just like anything else in AutoCAD. You just got to figure out where it's setting the colors. I just don't remember where that is in vehicle tracking. It's probably one of these buttons here. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it is. Anyways, that's the idea. It's just AutoCAD line work. Set it up to plot the way you would anything else. Report wizard. Which one's report wizard? Yeah, it's here somewhere. You just have to find it. Okay, what else we got?
So Christopher asks, have you guys ever adapted pipe networks to be used in a non-pipe function with custom pipe structure libraries? I love the dynamic labeling and the pipe networks can provide, including their access to PSETs, and looking to replace AutoCAD blocks for point features like fence crossings.
I'm not sure what a PSET is. Any idea on that one, Brian? Can you expand
Sorry,
on that one a little bit? Property set.
sorry, I'm sorry, I was away. I was away for a while. What was
No, so Christopher's question, you can see the questions, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So you just said PSETs and that's property sets.
Okay.
We haven't done anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about for using them like for like fences. Interesting. No, that's not something I've ever done.
But now
We
you're
pretty much
curious.
use our pipes for pipes. I've seen people use corridors for pipes instead of pipes, but that's kind of going the opposite direction of what you're asking. Yeah, I don't know. Has anybody? So let's reach out to everybody else. Is anybody else in the chat using pipe networks for things other than pipes? And if you are, what are some examples of what you're doing? I'd love to hear.
I'll use them for points actually. If I want to set a point table that's got not just northing and eastings, but also station and offset to an alignment, I can use pipe structures as those points and
Okay.
output a table that has that. Because I don't know why somebody needs to have a station and offset to a point that also has a northing and easting. But I guess if they haven't nailed their center line alignment down with, northing and eastings or bearings and whatnot, then they could use that method.
Yeah, that's true.
To me, I think, or,
Kyle says, yeah, users make them non-visible on plan, but still use the labels.
Okay, so I think in Kyle's example, they're still using the pipe networks as pipes. They're just not using them to display the pipes. They're using 2D line work to display the pipes. They're using the network for labeling. All right, that's interesting. So in the chat, Adam put, I've thought about using them as objects in my design base, signs, ramps, bike racks, etc., that I need to label, so I can use the labeling function in the sheet to keep the labels attached to the design as they move. Okay. Isn't that what that's the idea of points? Let me
well,
bring that chat over so everybody can see it.
honestly, you could, I think, yeah, that would be the concept of a point.
Yeah, so it's the idea of a point. So interesting. I don't know. I don't know, Adam. I'd have to think about that one a bit more. An interesting thought for sure.
It's something
Okay,
Kyle.
then I'll just bring that one back over.
We were all thinking it. Honestly, we were all thinking it.
So Max asked, what's the benefit of using 2D line work for pipes? Kyle responded back, the 2D line work can be done by an older engineers that won't learn Civil 3D. All right. We got anything else? We are running out of questions, folks. So
that was a good point by Adam. Yeah, you can't label a point through an XREF. So if you have it as a structure, you can label Civil 3D structures through, and you can actually alter the label based on the drawing that you're in. So it can be quite powerful.
There you go. Okay. That's a very valid point for sure.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, yeah, and like they were saying, they can use them as signs, bike racks, benches, or whatnot. It can hold whatever block you associated to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can data reference pipes as well. I don't know why they don't do that with points.
And you have to use the survey databases Robert mentioned in the chat to do that sort of thing, which is annoying. All right, what else we got, Brian?
Robert had a question. Is there a way to add a reference surface to all existing pipe network structures in one command in Civil 3D? Instead of having to select one structure, going to structure properties and then changing the reference surface.
That's a great question. Let's see if we can figure out a way to do that. Don't know of a way to do it off the top of my head.
My command is, hey, intern. There's one command.
You got one suggestion for tool space and one suggestion for Project Explorer.
Project Explorer. Yeah. See,
yeah, I was gonna look at both of those options.
I think Project Explorer has that ability, but I think it just does it per pipe run. I don't think it looks at the entire network at one shot. Yes, I guess if there was a game show and there was a big shiny button, you two would have hit it at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Tom typed in both. No, Tom was typing in both of the answers. That's why he wasn't there as fast as everybody.
Okay, so let's take a look at the
My God. That's awesome.
At the edit pipe networks. No. Why is it not bringing up? It was on my other screen. All right, and then we have the pipe networks Vista. So this is one place that we might be able to change it. I think this should work. So this won't necessarily do it for all structures in the drawing, but it'll do it for all structures in the network. All right, so we're on the structures tab here on the side. Here is the reference surface. So I can select the one, shift select the very last one, and when I click in one of them, you can see I can change it for that specific structure, but it doesn't change it for all of them, which is what you want. However, there's a cool trick. There's a couple of ways of doing this. If I select them all right, if I right click on the column heading and then choose edit, I can then change them all at the same time. Or if I select the first one, shift select the last one, keep holding down the shift key, and then click in here, I can do the same thing. So this is the way I would do it. But again, this doesn't do all the structures in the drawing, it just does all the structures for the product. And you can pick and choose. So I want this one, this one, this one. So I'm just using my control key to select the ones I want. Right click the column heading, edit, and I can change all of those to another one. So Robert, I hope that gets you what you need. We can explore the other methods as well.
Yeah, Project Explorer and Prospector.
Yep. So if we go to the Prospector, pipe network, networks, network one, structures. So we're talking about this little itty bitty tiny little area down here. Same concept. All right, I can scroll over to the right. It's over where no, did I go too far? There it is, reference. And I can pick the ones that, well, wait, which ones were they again? Here, let me just make this as big as I made the other one. And there we go, which is pretty much the same as just going through this little button here, right? And you can do the same thing, right click on the column heading, edit, and then change them all there. So same concept. All right, so that's the same idea as going through the Pipe Networks Vista. And then if we take this into, if we go take a look at this in Project Explorer, pipe networks, structures. Oh, that one, that, oops, stupid Windows key. That one, and that one. Reference surface. It's only let me do one. It's only let me do one at a time. Don't even let me change it. So it doesn't, I'm not seeing a way to do multiple in Project Explorer. Set reference surfaces. So I just right clicked. So I selected them, right click, set reference surfaces. And then I can change those all to, say, the corridor surface. So that's how you would do it through Project Explorer. So multiple different ways of achieving the same thing. I would just go through the Pipe Networks Vista personally.
And Adam says you can use the Red Transit Pipe Networks productivity tools as well. Assuming you want to go purchase that add-in.
Red Transit makes some good stuff. That's for sure.
That is
All right.
technically all the questions we have.
That's it. I went too fast. Should have
Now,
talked slower.
I did do my typical and go look at what updates there were since last civil chat.
And was there anything new, Brian? You got me on pins and needles here.
There was an AutoCAD drawing cleanup utility for 26.
Okay.
There was, I don't know what is GENIO import and export extensions?
Genio?
Genio?
I don't remember what that is.
Yeah. That came out for
I
Civil
think
3D.
that's Europe primarily, if I remember correctly. I could be totally
Okay.
wrong on that, though.
That came out in 26, and then also DWG integrity and migration tools for Civil 3D.
Huh.
And then, of course, for me, the day after I installed all the software on my new laptop, Navisworks came out with an update, Navis 26.
Of course.
And I thought I saw one earlier yeah. And then AutoCAD MEP 23 has an update. That's it. I thought I saw some for like map or something. Maybe not. Yeah, map. Sorry. AutoCAD Map 3D has an update for 26. That was it. That's all I got.
Right.
I'm buying time for more questions, people.
Yeah, if anybody else has questions. So what do y'all think of the project aware settings? I'm curious what your thoughts are. Is this something you think you'll use, or if you're not somebody that gets to make that decision, would you talk to the decision makers and say, hey, this is something we should look into? Yeah, Danny says not sure yet.
I think what you guys need to do is get that folder, copy it into the ACC template when the decision maker leaves his desk. So every project automatically gets set up that way, and then they'll be confused on what's going on. And then you'll be like, well, you have to have admin rights for that. It's your fault. Just saying. It should be a team effort. One person distracts him while the other one, adds it to his computer.
No, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that is very great at mandating, because what will end up happening is we will set our projects with that up, and when a person goes to open a drawing there, it reverts their project settings whether they like it or not. I see that really lends a lot of power, especially to the CAD management realm, because no matter who opens that drawing will automatically have those project settings put in there for them, because they're going to be reading from that file.
Mm-hmm.
And when it reads from it, and it's on ACC, you can assign permissions to that folder location, so that way they can't make changes to that location.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, the big question is maybe if they don't have their mappings proper, or what if a person gets into it that doesn't have CAD on their machine, or that doesn't have your standards on the machine?
Right. If you bring a sub-consultant into the project,
yeah,
and they don't have these same mappings, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Just since we've been in civil chat here, so
yeah, and that's where you would have to put your standards on each project if you're going to have sub-consultants utilizing this on ACC.
mm-hmm. I think it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah,
I really do.
We got a question from Tom. I'm about to use the Autodesk migration tools. We've got a client that is moving 30 years of data over to ACC, and I'll let you know next month how it goes.
I would say if his camera is on, we'll see if he has any less hair next
That's
month.
right.
I was going to say about the same thing.
Yeah, you used it. It's a lot, but yeah, I mean, I didn't like all the I don't like in the beta process for this data migration. There was a lot of red flags that were going up, and it would flag things that didn't need to be flagged, kind of so to speak. But I'm gonna see how fast we can get terabytes of information up.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
a decent
Max,
dial-up.
Max brings up the problem. A lot of people have issues with admin rights, etc., on ACC, so that could be a nervous thought on it as well.
Well, there's a little secret that I just found out from Autodesk on ACC for permissions. Um, Revit users, to be able to use Revit as its central file on ACC, your collaboration for Revit, they have to be in the edit permission box. They can't be just in the create permission box. So Revit requires a higher degree of permissions than AutoCAD. With AutoCAD, you can just have the permission list set to create, and that gives people the ability to upload, download, create. They just can't rename folders that are already previously named. So I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and then I lost it. Oh, where'd it go? Chris said that because of the change Autodesk did last week related to SSM for web and AutoCAD 26.1.1, he's concerned.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Concerned?
That was Chris Dawes.
Yeah, I saw that too. So have to, because of the change Autodesk did last week related to Sheet Set Manager for Web and AKI 26.1.1. So I'm not
That was an answer to your project aware question.
right. Yeah, are people going to use it? Yeah.
Oh, and they're concerned. Okay, that wasn't about the sheet set manager then.
No.
Okay.
So looks like somebody took the question down.
I did.
What laptop do we recommend? I don't recommend any laptops because I don't know hardware. You can just come to the system requirements for whatever version of CAD you're using or whatever software you're using, and just look through the minimum requirements there and get a laptop that meets that.
I put in the chat. I actually I always get my laptops custom built by people. So when I do that, so I put the one in there where I literally am on a laptop that is a week old and I've been using theirs. So I like talking to Anthony. He will walk you through exactly what you need. He builds desktops, custom laptops, whatever you need. So
Yeah.
I put it in the chat for the guy I use.
I know there's some resellers out there that do custom machine creations. The one I'm thinking about is Bimbox. I think it's ATG that does that. I don't know if they're good or not. I just know that it's out there. So that might be something else. Talk to your reseller, see what they recommend. They should probably have better recommendations than I do, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's why I call somebody who knows about hardware. And the reason I like Anthony is he knows about Autodesk software and hardware because most of his clients actually are engineers. So that for me is kind of like, here, tell me, here's what I'm looking for. And he always builds me out what I need for my laptop.
And
so
I'd
far,
recommend you have more than 20 gigs of disk space. I think that's just to install it.
Yes.
So
which cracks me up. I think you actually need more because I think the download is like 20 gigs, and then it installs 20 gigs. So during the install process, you need like 60 gigs.
Because you download the 20 gigs and then it unzips it another 20 gigs, and then it installs it for the other 20 gigs.
Correct. The one thing I will also say for people who don't know, and I don't know if you want to open this, Brian, is if you go into, God, I gotta remember, I think it's program files or is it program data? There's the Autodesk folder, and then in the Autodesk folder, I'm trying to find it. There's a WIP folder, and that's for web installs. And I'm trying to remember if it's under program data or program files. And then there's a different one in there as well. And what it does is anytime you've actually installed the software, depending on how you've installed it, either through the web installer or through the Autodesk Access, it keeps copies of all the downloads in there as well.
Yeah. So in our deployments, we have it set up to go to a cAdmin. So you can see there's that Civil 3D 2026 deployment. It cleared it back out when it was done, so that was nice. But this is what our IT department uses.
Right, but I'm talking about people who don't have fancy IT departments because if somebody's asking where they can buy computers, they don't have an IT department.
Right.
So yeah, there is in there. And I keep forgetting if anybody knows where that file
I'm not sure where it goes.
It's under Autodesk somewhere. I don't remember, but yeah, there's a WIP folder as well as it's just C Autodesk. Thank you. I knew it was somewhere in there. So just under C Autodesk, there's then the WI folder, or
Yeah.
underneath the WI folder, there's the IM. So the WI is a web install, and the IM is the Autodesk Access. So depending on how somebody installed it, that can become huge. So
Yeah.
literally, since I just installed all of my Autodesk projects last week, for me, that is 60 gigs large, the WI folder. So just throwing that out there, if you do get this, that's why I'm laughing. They're like, oh, you need 20 gigs of, yeah, no, I need 20 gigs just for the WI folder. I need 20 gigs. Yeah, no.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as, if you're going to go out and get a computer on your own, this is where you start. 32 gigs of RAM. If you're using Civil 3D, if you're using point clouds, yeah, you want this to be 64. Um, Other than that, get a decent video card. Solid state drive is a must.
Can you even buy a computer with a spinning drive anymore? I mean, definitely not a
I
laptop.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, you can.
So, a couple of people ask, can those files be deleted? I go through and delete those files all the time, to tell you the truth. And the only time I've had issues is when Autodesk FUBARs their stupid service pack updates. And sometimes it needs to find the original installer INI folder. I know this is a big deal with Revit. If you've deleted that, it's like, crap, I can't find it. So you've got to go like redump the INI file somewhere.
Yeah.
But yes, somebody else is saying, I just checked mine, mine's 70 gigs. I've been into that folder before. Like I've only installed a few versions of software, and I'm at 60 gigs. I've had that folder be 200 gigs before. So at that point in time, I start going in and being like, cool, I'm going to find anything that's greater than 6 months old and just delete it and hope to God it doesn't screw me on the update.
Yeah.
If there is a service pack update, you just usually need to find the INI for that thing, and that's all it's looking for. But no, Tom, I've never had problems uninstalling software if I've deleted those folders, only in dealing with um, updates occasionally. And I didn't do it for quite a few years, and then it was like 24 or 25, Revit started doing it again. And again, there can be two folders in there. There's a WI folder, and then I think the IM folder you had is for if somebody's using Autodesk Access. So it does understand which folder you came from and which folder you downloaded it from. Go to your IM folder. What's in the IM folder? I don't have one yet because I've done all of mine.
Backups of some sort.
Yeah, I've done all of mine from the web installer. I didn't do anything from Access, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I get, especially, a lot of people, the question was originally about laptops. I see a lot of people, buying only like 500 gig hard drives for the laptop. And that's the other big thing too. So if you got, 80 to 100 gigs in there, and then you go to your cache folder as well, right? So if you look at the Autodesk cache folder, if you start working on ACC, it goes to your cache folder on the C drive. So all of your project data then gets cached there, and that
Mhm.
can really, really, really take up a lot of space for you too.
Yeah.
And
But
your
yeah,
cache,
I'm due to get a new laptop here pretty soon. So um, this one's quite a few years old. And you can see I only had 500 gigs on this one, and I'm
yeah,
almost
I
out
don't
of
know where the
space.
cache is located for Civil 3D. I only know where it's located for Revit. So
Um, Probably under C temp or the temp folder.
no, so the cache for Revit is under users, app data local, and then Autodesk.
What goes into the cache folder?
Copies of every single for the Revit world, it's the project you're on, and if there's 10 files linked in, it also downloads those 10 LinkedIn files and puts it into the cache folder. And then if you open up any one of those linked files that aren't linked but as a separate file, it then copies that to the parent folder. So you
Okay.
can literally have duplicates of everything. And for a lot of my clients, who end up having, like 1 gig files for everybody, you can have 15, 20, 30 gigs in a single project folder. So I always just like to bring that up. Again, I don't know how it works for other people, but I just know how it works for me in the Revit side.
Yeah, Kyle checked his WI folder. It's at 71 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
It's real quick and easy to fill up. And again,
Yep.
you guys are IT, so you're putting it in somewhere, and IT probably saying, "Hey, go get rid of all those files," and you've got an IT. But if you don't have anybody, yeah, it's kind of getting in there. I mean, my new laptop, I have two 4 gig hard drives on it.
You have what?
Two 4 gig hard drives. So I have 8 gigabytes of hard drive space.
Okay. That doesn't seem like much. Unless I'm
Yeah.
misunderstanding something.
Yeah, 8 gigs, that's it.
Oh, sorry, I meant 800 gigs, two 400 gigs.
Just 400 gigs, not 4 TB.
No, that was too pricey to put terabytes in it.
So you don't even have a total of 1 TB hard drive space.
No, I got 800 gig. And I don't have a server, so all of my stuff gets stored on my computer. But I also, don't download music and photos.
Yeah,
All
I've
right.
got 2 TB, two terabyte hard drives.
Yeah, I just have 500 gigs. I feel
Well, I
like
see that often, especially like people who are like Dell computers and they just buy these Dell computers, and it's like, man, I can fill that up with I mean, shit, the Windows operating system's at 80 gigabytes now, and then
Mhm.
any Autodesk Bing product is about 40 gigs. So it's kind of like, man, you can fill 500 gigs up in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's why I'm constantly running out of space. But I'll get a new computer here soon, someday, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
Yeah,
also
so
something to consider is typically if you're installing something and you have less than 10% of your hard drive space available, it oftentimes will have ramifications upon installation of programs.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the other thing I always tell people too, is type in percent temp percent to go to your temp folder and then just see what you got in there. And that's when I tell people, just go delete that out at any point in time. I usually do it when I'm not in a software because software could currently be writing to it. But if you type in percent temp, I've seen like hundreds of gigs in people's temp folders.
Yeah.
And you don't have to know the whole path if you just type in percent temp percent. Yeah.
Yeah. What am I at?
You're like, now I'm curious.
Yeah. Not too bad. 1.8.
And that is stuff that literally should be deleted all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I go ahead and clean it out every once in a while. All right. Well, I think that brings us up to the end of the hour. So thank you everybody for showing up. Do appreciate it. Again, I will be posting this up on my YouTube channel. So C3D Plus. So just see the number 3D and then PLUS. Just search for that on YouTube if you ever want to go back and look at any of the older ones. I've got them up there. And we will see you again next time. Make sure to invite your coworkers, your friends, your family, whoever else wants to come and join us. See you then.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.